Welcome to our custom space.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK, and I hope you're all doing well. And this is going to be another bloom video, but this is going to be a bloom video with a bit of a difference. I'm not going to use any white. And I've realized that every bloom I've done up till now has always had white in. And I want to see what would happen if I use 3 different micas and no white. Will it still bloom or not? That is the question for this experiment. So I'm just going to get gloved up. I was gloved up when I mixed the resin, but unfortunately the gloves ripped, so I'm getting a fresh pair on. So Tracy, if you're watching, you'll like that. But no, I also need your advice. This is my newer phone that I'm filming on at the moment, and I want to see if you're getting a better picture and better sound quality, because I'm all about trying to improve the quality of these videos for all of you. So let me know in comments if you think the video quality and the sound quality in this video is any better to the ones that we normally do. And as always, I'm waiting for the temperature of my resin to get to around about 36. So we're at about 29 at the minute. And the key thing here is going to be prepared, which if those of you that watch the channel know, I'm usually not. So I'm going to get everything prepared before I pour this lovely resin. Again, crystal clear, and it is the Apex resin that I'm using for this. Just this standard high gloss, not the fast cure, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to get the pot prepared for my center first, I think. And I've got some of these real black rocks called obsidian, and I think they'll be quite cool as a center, but I'm not just going to leave it at black rocks. Again, you guys know me. I don't tend to do plain, but I do want a few of these in there because I think they'll sink and they'll make a nice colorful center. So I'm going to put probably 3 scoops in, and that should be more than enough of those for the center. Then I'm going to add a tiny bit of this chameleon glitter. So again, we've had 3 scoops of stones. I'm just going to go with the 1 scoop of the glitter because I don't want it to overpower, he says, as he's flicking it everywhere. But I do want enough in there for it to just give it a bit of a sparkle. And again, I'm a new convert to glitter. I never used to be a fan of glitter, but since I've seen the effects you can get with it, you know what? I'm always going to use it now, I think. And then I've also got some of these little iridescent flakes as well. So again, I think they'll be quite cool. Not too many, probably half a scoop of those should be enough. And that'll be my mix ready for the center when I add some resin. And hopefully it'll look quite nice. So let's just mix those around. And it'll give us an idea. Oh, and he's flicked it in his mold. It always goes wrong when you're filming, but I'm going to wait and add some resin to that before I mix it. In fact, I'm going to add a touch of it now. It won't hurt anything. And I don't need a lot, just enough to, as I say, just create a bit of a paste. So there we go. And then I'm going to have to clean my mold now because I've spilt glitter in it. But again, I've got a very limited workspace. So that's why, if you watch the channel, you'll know that I pretty much do all of this in 3 feet worth of workspace in my living room. And as always, if you are liking the content and the experiments, do me a favor. The QR code is just there. All you need to do, point your phone camera at it, and it takes you straight to the link to subscribe. It tells me that you're liking the content, and it makes me feel good so that I want to keep creating content. And the way the YouTube algorithm goes is unless these videos get likes, comments, and shares, it doesn't show them to anyone. So it's kind of pointless me doing them. So again, just do me a favor, like and subscribe. And I'm using my homemade mold, Crystal Edge mold for this, which if you haven't seen that video, it's a great little video. You would not believe it. This took me 7 attempts to get this. And it is now my favorite mold. So it was worth it in the end. I've got 3 piping bags here. And I've got 3 cups ready to mix those colours. So the colours I'm going to go with, I've got this chameleon-y type blue. which I think is lovely, and it will add some sparkle. I've got a gold, which is really sparkly, from Let's Resin. And I've got the blue violet from Let's Resin as well. And I think those three colours should complement each other in a bloom, if I get it right. And that's going to be the key here. So I'm just going to get that ready as well, so that we are all ready for mixing. And again, the key is when you're doing mica blooms, don't make it too heavy. So maximum I would ever do is probably 1.5 to 2 scoops of this. Anything more, and it will just be too heavy, and it will give you the B word, which is blobs for those of you that don't know. And I'm hoping I don't get them now I've said them. Now I've said the word. But we're going to find out together. So that's that lovely chameleon style of blue. Look at that sparkle on it. This is the gold, which again, I've not used it in a bloom before. So it'll be interesting just to see what it looks like. And with the gold, you can overpower things with your gold. So I'm just over 1 scoop, I think, is going to be more than enough. And I'm hoping this works. I've not tried it before. I've always put a white in my blooms. And I just wanted to see what a mica bloom would look like using just mica powders if I didn't add a white. And maybe at the end, depending on what it looks like, I may add a white backing rather than my traditional black. I don't know. So there's those colours ready. Now, I'm not going to need a lot of them. I probably only need half a pot of each because, again, it's not a big surface area. And I want most of it to stay clear. So this mould only takes 5 ounces. So, in fact, I best check my temperature. Nearly made a fatal mistake then. 32, so we're not quite ready. So we want it to get to, with this is a more of a medium viscosity resin, and I want it to get to about 36. That's when I've had the best results. And if you want any resin from the Apex range, it used to be called Just For You onlineuk.com, and now it's just apexresin.co.uk. They ship worldwide and they are amazing resins. They do a fast cure. They do the standard like I'm going to be using in this bloom, but the fast cure works really well as well. They also do a great deep cast resin, and that's where I get all my eco pour from. And I'm excited to say I've got a discount code for you as well, which will get you, I think it's 15% off, which is CCUK. And who doesn't like money off the resin because it's expensive enough? But also, if you're having problems with your blooms, use a quality resin and it makes the world of difference. Stop buying it from Temu and use a quality one like this Apex resin, and I guarantee you're going to see better results. So again, go to apexresin.co.uk, use the discount code CCUK, get yourself some money off anything on the site, and they're a great bunch as well. So again, try it out, let me know what you think, and I'll keep on testing and experimenting with it to show you what kind of results we can get. There we go, 33 degrees. And again, if you want one of these thermometers, some people have said they're far too expensive. This thermometer cost me, I think it was £12 from Amazon. So if you want me to put the link for it in the description, just put something in comments and I'll put the link there for you. But they don't have to be expensive, and they do work. I've had some great results with this one, and I've not changed the batteries yet either in 6 months. So that's always a good sign. And then I've got all my piping bags ready as well. So I'll see you guys in a couple of seconds once the resin is up to temperature. So we're at 35.5. I'm pretty happy at this point to pour enough in there to mix up those micas. And I'm just going to go for just over half a cup of each because I'm not going to need more than that. And most of this, I just want to pour straight into the mould. So there we go. They're just over halfway with those 1.5 to 2 scoops of mica. And I think I'll get a great colour with that. And look at the static go as I pour. Always get static. So there we go. That's that. So we're just going to mix up these colours now. And what I use is a cocktail stirrer for this. And it's just so much easier because you just wipe it after you've mixed each one and then it's ready to go for the next. So for the first one, I'm going to mix up this chameleon blue. And I think this is going to give us a really faint petal. Because of the fact it's chameleon, it's going to stay reasonably translucent, I think. But look at it. Absolutely stunning colour. And that's what I want in my petals rather than just white, because I'm sure I don't think I've seen anybody do blooms without a white in. And maybe that's because they won't bloom without the white. I don't know. But in this experiment, we're just going to use those micas, as you've seen, and we're going to see what happens. But look at that beautiful colour. And it's sort of semi-transparent as well. So we're going to see. I'm pouring as much as I can in that first piping bag. And that is ready to go. Any drips afterwards, I will pour them into a drip mould. But for the purpose of this, I need to get a bit of a shifty on because I know the temperature is pretty much up to resin. So there's that. I haven't used these colours in a bloom yet either from Let's Resin. So this is the gold. And I'm hoping it's going to be quite a bright gold because sometimes you get golds that are actually quite dull and I don't want that. Oh, that's lovely. So again, don't forget, let me know in comments, is the sound and is the video better with me using this camera to the rest of my videos that I normally sort of do? Because I'd be interested to know if it is. Always trying to look to improve things for everyone. We've also got membership open as well, which if you don't know, by being a channel member, it puts you into a free monthly prize draw, which basically means every month you get the chance to win a piece of my art shipped to wherever you are in the world. I don't care how much it's going to cost me to ship. The winner will always get the prize posted to them. And that way you get a piece of my art. And you've probably seen how it's been created on the channel. So it's just a fun way for me to support those people that are supporting me and supporting the channel. So again, all you need to do with that, there'll be a link in description or just go to the channel homepage and click join membership. It's as simple as that. So there's the gold and here's the next one, which is that sort of purpley colour, I think it is. And I think that'll just give us a slightly different tint of petal to that chameleon blue. And look at that. That is stunning as well. It's like purples and blues mixed together. A bit like Galaxy, I think, in the chameleon range. Look at that. That is stunning. And I wish it came up on camera as well as it does in real life because you can really see the difference between the purple and the blue. It's almost like got a blue shimmer with a purple resin, but loving that. So that one's going to go into the last piping bag and then we should be pretty much ready to go. But I've left the resin in the cup just to heat up that extra little bit whilst I'm doing this, because for me, I want to make sure that it's heated up enough to support the weight of these micas. So if it goes a couple of degrees over, and I think it will just give me that extra layer of protection against blobbing. So there's those spare cups at the side. I'm just going to have a look now actually at what the temperature is. And you can see it's gone up to 37 now whilst we've been mixing those colours. But I'm not concerned. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to go straight into the mould and put it in. You know? And I am going to scrape my cup because I'm not one that believes in wasting resin. And as long as you mix it properly, you've got nothing to worry about scraping it all in, because as long as you've mixed it and you've scraped your sides and your bottom, then you've got nothing to worry about. So there we go. And that is pretty much, I think that's about 3 ounces that I had left after doing those colours. So I'm just going to have a look around now and I can see something on my resin. I think it's one of Reggie's hairs. So I don't want that in there. And something brown. But don't panic at this point. Just take it out. Whatever it is, you can always remove it. And then he's got one more of his hairs just there, which I don't want in a finished product. And it's still not come out. Really wants to stay in. There we go. So that's the hair out. And now all I'm going to do is use a silicone tool. And I'm just going to quickly, he says, just go around the bottom edge, because that's where, if bubbles are likely to be, they're going to be. And I just want to dislodge any that might be there in that edge, like that. And all you do is you go around the edge and bring it to the surface, like so. I'm going to wipe my silicone tool, because I'm probably going to use the same tool to draw in the petals in a second. But first, I'm just going to torch off the bubbles off the surface, like so. And as you've probably noticed, there's no alcohol ink going in this either. It's just those gorgeous micas. So what I am going to do at this point is just put my centre in. So literally getting a load of it on my stick. I'm going as close to the centre as I can get it. And that should just naturally sink down and hopefully create a nice centre. There we go. Not too much, but I want enough so that it makes that centre. And then I'm going to use my silicone tool, because that at the minute just looks like a mound. And I don't want that. I want to spread it around a little bit so it looks a tiny bit more natural, like so. There we go. I think that's reasonably central. Again, just torching off any excess bubbles. And now it's time to get the bags ready. Now, the only thing to be careful of when you do this is that it doesn't come out the back when you do this. So all you do, tip it like that and give it a good squeeze down, and then give it a twist. And if you've got the right temperature, it will feel a tiny bit warm. So there's that one. And I want these all ready to go, because I want them to all intermix into these petals. So this is the gold. Again, just giving it a squeeze down like so, and then just twist your bag, and that should be ready to go. Now, I've tried doing blooms pouring from the cup, and I always struggle more with that. Since I've moved to piping bags, I've had much better results. So if you're struggling with your blooms and you get too much blobbing, try piping bags. They are, I say, they're much more easier to control. We'll find out in a minute. Especially with me using 3 in 1, it's going to be interesting. And then there's that last colour, or the first colour, I think it was. And then all you want to do is, you see where that air bubble is at the end? You just want to snip the end when you're ready to go. And I think I am ready to go, but I'm just wondering which way round I want to do this. I think I want to do blue, gold, and then purple at the end. In fact, no, I'm going to go slightly different on that. I'm going to use this galaxy one first, then the gold, then the blue. So all I'm going to do is snip the end off and then be prepared to get piping. The fun bit where it can all go wrong. So I'm just going to snip a bit off the end. Would help if my scissors were sharpened, but they're not. So I'm just going to have to go with it. And it is dripping out a little bit too fast, actually, but we're going to go for it. I've started, so it's too late for me to stop now. And as you can see, I'm just going to go in with the spiral. And this is already looking gorgeous, this colour. Absolutely stunning. And your spirals don't have to be perfect, because in nature, it's very rare that you see a perfect bloom. There we go. And I'm happy with that for the first colour. So that is that. I can move that to one side now. I don't need it anymore. Next, the gold. And I can see it's already trying to bloom, which is good. So again, the gold. And I'm going to try and get in between where I've already gone. And again, don't squeeze your bag. Just let it naturally come out. And as you can see, I'm just trying to go in that gap. With this gold. And don't worry if you overlap a tiny bit, it won't matter in the end result. And there we go. So that's that gold. And then the last one is this chameleon-y blue. And you can see it's already trying to bloom. So that tells me that I've probably got my temperatures right. Hopefully. So I'm just going to snip the end off this blue as well. And then this should be our final colour. Again, going to try and go in if I can see a gap. And then just go around. Now this one feels a little bit heavier, which is a little bit concerning. But we're going to find out. And as I say, the interesting thing for me is I'm not using any white for this bloom. It's just going to be these micas that are going to create those wonderful petals that we all love. And hopefully give me a really cool effect. So there we go, and I've still got lots left, so they're going to go into my drip mold and we can fill that together. Now all I'm going to do is a standard petal design. So what you want to do, think of a clock, and I'm going to bring it in to that center like so. Same here. Bring it into the center, and you want to do it at opposite ends, otherwise you get uneven petals. And you just want to tickle that surface. You don't need to go deep. You're just tickling that surface. I'm loving the way that this is looking already. And I can see already that it's blooming, which is great. Now, some of you like swirls and some of you don't. So should I swirl this one or not? I'm not going to. But I think just for this one to be a little bit different, how many petals have I got? So I've got 8 petals. These, I'm going to leave these as they are. And then these ones I'm going to pull through. One like that. So it's going to have hopefully some very different petals in this, where we're going to have the more rounded ones as well as the standard ones. And I think it will just give us an interesting contrast in the petals. Like so. And I'm not going to swirl this one. I don't want to. Don't know why. Something's telling me not to. So you can see we've got those 4 different petals and then these 4 different petals. And it'll be interesting, I think, just to see what we get. I don't think it needs swirling because of that center that I put in as well. And that's pretty much it. So that bloom is now going to work out, or it isn't. And I've still got a good 3 mil of space if I want to put a back on it, which I think I am going to with this one. And I think I know what I'm going to do. So we'll come back in about 4 or 5 hours when it should be set up enough to hopefully do that second layer for the back. But just going to zoom you guys in now so that you can have a look. In fact, I want to film a drip mold first. So you can see the skull that I'm doing at the minute, which is just all of those different colors and pigments. I'm going to put this next to the bloom. And very important, once you've got your bloom in, do not move it under any circumstances. Leave it. So here we go. I think we're going to go in with the gold first. And again, I'm just pouring it all into this drip mold at the side. And then I'm going to pour the others in. And hopefully we'll have enough spare resin here to fill in. And then I can demold this at the same time as the bloom. So there we go. Get every last drop out you can. So I'm doing the bags first. And then whatever's left in the cups. I'm just being careful not to drop it back in my bloom that I've spent all of that time making, which, believe me, I have done before. So there we go. This is that blue. And I still think I'm going to be a tiny bit short, which is annoying because I've been filling this drip mold for about a month now, and I'm really keen just to see what it looks like. In we go. And yeah, I'm going to be a tiny bit short, which means I'm probably going to have to wait till the next project to demold it. I'm going to see if I can scrape any more clear out. Got a tiny bit left in this cup, but I don't think we're going to be able to fill it. And now I'm just going to scrape the rest of these out. So apologies if you don't like to watch videos of me scraping into a drip mold. I've got some of this glittery centre mixture as well. That can go in. And this is the beauty of a drip mold. If you hear me talking about drip molds, literally you don't know what you're going to get. You're just pouring everything into a spare mold at the side, stops you wasting any resin. But if you go back to some of the earlier videos, I used to always do drip dragons, and some of those came out absolutely amazing. But again, it just makes sure that you're not wasting any as well. Resin and micas and everything else you want to add all cost money. You'll very quickly realise when you get into resin, it's not a cheap hobby. So anything you can do to reduce any waste, you might as well do. And some of them might not work out, but the majority work out pretty cool. Again, just getting every drop I can out of these little pots. And it is so close. It's probably about an ounce short. So next project, this will be completely full and I'll be able to demold. There we go. I don't think I'm going to get any more out than that. But I might just give it a swirl around as well, just to see what these colours mix like as well in the strip mold. There we go. Beautiful. And now I'm going to take you in for a bit of a close-up so you can have a look what it looks like. But it is blooming, so I'm happy about that. And it's just whether I put a backing on this or whether I leave it clear so that the bloom just stands out in the centre of this transparent resin. I don't know. But let me know what you think in comments. Do you like my blooms, or do you want me to start doing other things? I love the blooms, and I think it's one of my favourite techniques. Now, always top tip: use scissors, wipe them, because your resin will bond to the metal, and they'll become unusable, as I've done many a time. So, always wipe them, and wipe anything that you've used. So your silicone tools. Absolutely everything, because anything that you leave resin on will become unusable. And it's only a 2-second job at this point, but trust me, you won't be able to do anything about it if you don't do it at this point. So I'm just going to zoom you in. Wow. In fact, I'm going to take you off this. And look at that. There's no white in there. It's just those beautiful micas that have created that gorgeous flower. So I'm loving the way that that's looking at the minute. And I'm wondering if I should put a white backing on it or not. Let me know what you think in comments, and I'll see you guys in a few hours. Morning everyone, and it is the next day. And do you know what? It's only been sort of, I'd probably say 10 to 12 hours, but I think because this is a deeper mould, this feels completely set and ready to demould. And I decided, I've been thinking about it, looking at it for about an hour and going, do I want to back it or not? And I don't want to. I want to keep it transparent. So hopefully if this has worked, it just looks like a floating flower in this crystal edge coaster. So we're going to demold, and do me a favor, like and subscribe to the channel. It makes a huge difference and it allows me to keep doing these experiments. So what is this bloom going to look like? Has it bloomed with no white, or has it blobbed? That is the question. Let's go for it. And unfortunately, I've mixed it a little bit too heavy. So we've got a couple of blobs, but do you know what? I still like it. I like the effect it's given. It's not too blobby, but I'm glad I didn't put a back on it now. As you can see, there's some areas where it's got a little bit heavy and blobbed, other areas where it's still stretched out those petals really nice and given it a really cool design. So again, I'm going to be doing this again because I've had some success with just using micas, and I love that sort of transparent bloom effect it's given, even with these heavier blobs that it's created as well. So I think I just went in a little bit heavy with that mica. So I'm going to do this again, but I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've seen that you don't have to use a white in a bloom. And the great thing is I can put something behind it, whether it's white, whether it's red, whatever colour I want, and it will really emphasise those colours. So I love the colours. Not my best bloom if I'm being honest, but do you know what? That's part of the process. Not every project works, not every experiment works, but I think this will work. I just need to get the mix of the mica right, and I went a little bit heavy, but I still like it. Let me know what you think in comments, and I'll see you on the next one.
Welcome to our custom space where dreams take flight. Epoxy visions coming to life. It's a perfect sight. We pull together, blooming three, resin family. Testing Micah's new creations. We set them free. Join our journey, like and subscribe. This is our place. Ocean seas to dragons and blooms we carve with grace. Welcome to custom carving, where dreams come true. Epoxy magic flowing just for me and you. Masterpieces rising, crafted with our hands. Testing new colors in the spotlight. We're all your Epoxy and carving dreams come true. Together we learn